Video game storylines that you have enjoyed over your life. Stay frosty out there.
Hello everybody and welcome back to High5. We're going to do it at the beginning this time, hell yeah, where we pick our top 5 picks from a wide variety of topics. This episode we're doing our top 5 video game stories with, you know, whatever reasoning we decide we want to throw on it.
Anything for anything.
Yeah, it can be just a matter of you like the ending or the whole thing or a certain character, just something about that story mode that stuck with you.
Yeah.
Why don't you start us off?
I'm going to cheat a little bit because I could not pick between the 3 games, and I want to. They're PlayStation exclusive, of course. Yeah.
Oh wait, 3 games. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, fuck. That doesn't work because there's a 4th Uncharted.
It is the Uncharted series.
Okay, but it's the original trilogy.
It's not the original trilogy. Now, here's why. Now, the first one is good. Mm-hmm. It has its merits, but when you're comparing it to the 4th one or the 3rd one, which are the less, like, everyone thinks that 2 is the best one.
That's
right?
the common
thesis.
Right.
Yeah, common consensus.
But I disagree.
Which one do you think is the best one?
I personally liked 4 the best.
Okay.
Story mode wise, just the straight out story.
Yeah, I was gonna say the reason on my top 5, I put Uncharted 2 through 4. Mm-hmm. So 2, 3, and 4 I think are all phenomenal in every aspect. It's the first time I've ever really. I remember when I played a game. I remember when I played Uncharted 2. I remember thinking after Uncharted 2, I want more games like Uncharted.
Yeah.
I remember I'm playing other games going, this is great, but this just is not Uncharted.
Yep. I
don't know what it is about that. I kind of wonder if it's the run-in and gun-in and all the big action set pieces.
I honestly think it's the characters, too.
Then that, yeah, like it
there was a time where me and Quinn were going to make a game review series because I had Gamefly, and we're like, fuck it, we'll do a review series. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do pros and cons, and everyone was going to have the first con was going to be doesn't star Nathan Drake.
I can see one.
Yeah.
Like, there's just, and like Nathan, he's such a good character. He, you know, we watch him kill men in the troves. Mm-hmm. You know, troves of men. I said that wrong every time I say that. I say it wrong, but we watch him kill troves of men, but he's still happy. Hey.
Right. He never it's borderline psychotic.
Yeah. But he just kind of uses his wit and charm to keep things alive and flowing.
And I think so. If you had just pure story. If you had to pick one out of those, because I mean,
if I had to pick for story, definitely Uncharted 4, just because they introduce his brother,
right, and it builds up on Baker before it too,
yeah, and it's like it's
so
makes
emotional,
because you're like, well, where was Sam at these last 15 years? He's been stuck in prison, that poor bastard. And then, it turns out what he told you is a lie, and then,
And not to mention,
spoiler alert,
between Drake and I always forget her name for some reason.
Elena.
Yeah, I always want to call her
and
L.
And their
does he call her L?
I call her Elena.
No, but does he call her L at all? I always want to call her L for some reason.
I don't think so.
But the way that their marriage is being strained by the whole thing.
Yeah. Like, and when she finds out that he was lying the whole time, that you're like, how much can she really take? Because by the end of the second game, it alludes to that they did kind of shack up for a bit. It didn't work out. And then at the end of the second game, they were like, well, they're going to get back together again. Mm-hmm. And then in the third game, it was pretty obvious that they had broken up again.
Is 2 where they introduced the other girl, the British girl?
Chloe. And then, and I don't think she's in the 4th one.
No.
Really.
She, honestly, between the 2, I would have gone with Chloe.
Yeah, because Chloe seems more like
in line with his.
With his walk on the wild side.
But I think that was their issue. They're too similar. They're bad for each other.
Yeah.
They gotta team up, not
stick together.
Right. It's rare that games will continue along the same storyline and beat the previous one by adding to it without convoluting things too much.
And that's one thing I thought too with adding Sam.
In one game, they make you buy into that character.
Yeah, and it was so it wasn't like, where they, you watch season 8 of Supernatural and they introduced something that was like the Metal Letters. Like those guys weren't freaking there the whole time, whatever. But Sam feels like he had been there the whole time.
Like it didn't seem out of place at all.
It just didn't seem like to function weirdly or like, I guess that works. No, it works.
So, with the way that all works on an emotional level, that'll tie into the first one I'll throw out there, which I can only assume is also going to be on your list.
What is?
And it's also a PlayStation exclusive.
Oh yeah.
And there's a second one coming out, Last of Us. Right? That is. I have that as my emotional pick because it is by far the most emotional story that I got from the first 10 minutes.
Emotional than watching your daughter die in your arms.
Yeah, and just like at this point, they're getting so good at the voice acting and the motion capture.
Oh yeah,
and like his
shout out to
face
Troy Baker, man,
as he's crying and like he's like scrambling over and like his voice is shaking.
Yeah, and she and her, I can still hear her dying in my head.
And you know what's crazy?
The sounds that she makes and just...
Like, if they had just killed her, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But
it's...
Their performance mixed with the first 10 minutes of them, like...
Of everything that's going on.
And like, they built such a strong connection in 5 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah. Because you're sitting there, you're like... Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's totally true. Because you're sitting there. You really only see that little girl for 10 minutes, but they make you get so attached to her within that 10 minutes.
It's crazy how good Naughty Dog is at making likable characters.
Like, they
don't worry about trying to make them too badass. They don't try to worry about making them perfect. They make them real. Which is crazy.
Them flawed, imperfected.
And then you get later on with Joel and now
Ellie.
That's why I was getting confused, right? With how their relationship works out, and she's like being his new surrogate daughter, and like how he won't let her do things because he can't lose his daughter again. And I'm just like the whole time, like I'm in this world where I'm at a constant state of anxiety from either people or from zombies, and then they'll hit you with a cutscene that like all that fades away, and all you're thinking about is fuck, this sucks.
Yeah,
he won't be able to take it if he loses another daughter. He's going off the deep end.
Yeah,
like he's going like Hawkeye and then he's just gonna kill everything and even fuck it. Even him trying to keep her kind of breaks him in a sense towards the end there when he clears himself over society.
He chooses himself over the world, over saving the world, and like he really, if the world hadn't already been fucked into a coma, they're never getting out of it now.
And outside of that whole arc, there's even smaller big emotional things, like Tess is her name, right?
Yeah, like they kind of allude to maybe him and Tess were kind of screwing, kind of not.
And then she gets bit
and she
has
dies.
To hide it.
Yeah, and when she's hiding it, and
she tells him to just go.
It's
like the old Yeller.
And then and when he's kind of figuring out, and she's like, "Don't touch me," because I have it, kind of thing, and just like. When he shows it to her, he's like, show it to me. And he shows it to her. His reaction is so good and real.
And they're so good at like constantly taking the stakes to the next level too.
Yeah,
the pacing of this story is so good too. Like going through the seasons, like every time it's like I said, zombies, human zombies. By the time you get tired of one, the next one comes in. And then, like, when you think you can't take it anymore, you finally get out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, right.
Bill's another tragic fucking character.
Yeah, right.
And, Bill. He's cool because they don't right out tell you his story. It's like
you have to find that note.
Yeah, it's crazy. Or you're in a cannibal camp and like
and
not Bill. What's his name? David. And then now it's a whole nother level of like now it's like creepy and terrifying, and then you finally get out of that, and it's just that is by far and away the best story in terms of emotional impact that has ever happened to me. Ever. And I don't know if even 2 has me worried if they can top it.
Yeah,
I know it'll be good, but I don't know if it can be that good.
I can just tell you how I feel by watching 2. Like, when I watch 2's footage, I can already tell this is how good The Last of Us was to me. I can already tell I'm not going to play The Last of Us through 6.5 times without skipping the cutscenes. Because The Last of Us is so good that I got 5 to 6 playthroughs in, and I was like, I've never thought about skipping the cutscenes, not once.
Yeah. It's very rare.
Yeah, it's just so good that you don't think about it.
Yeah, because there's certain games you go back to play for like different unlockables or different achievements or for the gameplay, but that is one you don't go back to rush through it. You go back to experience it again.
Yeah,
which is crazy. What do you got? I assume that was
that was my top. That was my number one.
I was kind of wondering.
Yeah, that was my number one.
When I started saying it, I was like, maybe I shouldn't go this route because I assumed it was going to be your one, but it tied in with the emotional thing.
Yeah.
What do you got next on your list?
So number 4 is an Xbox 360 exclusive, Alan Wake. Yeah, I think Alan Wake's story is very well done in the terms of like story driven.
Yep, I have that. That was one of my honorable mentions. Was definitely Alan Wake.
Okay.
That was one that was tough for me to kick off my list.
Yeah, because what's so cool about it is they're making you wonder what the hell's going on the entire time, and then when they explain to you the ending, it doesn't make any fucking sense until you Google it and you're like, oh, shit.
Well, even just excluding like the gameplay of like using the flashlight tweaking and all that kind of stuff, just the way they're able to capture a feel of like a Stephen King thriller is crazy.
Yeah, and just like very Stephen King-esque, a writer is writing and everything he's written.
I think they're even in Maine.
Happening.
I could be wrong about that, but I think they're legitimately in Maine.
I think so, yeah. They're somewhere up there, yeah.
Yeah.
And even in the smaller details, like, because you're walking around and you're like, he's a freaking bookworm. How is he shooting? Well, there's a scene or a part in the game where you and your wife, or Alan Wake and his wife, are in the apartment. And if you go into his office, he's got a little trophy for a shooting competition.
Just like Jason Voorhees.
Just like, what? Does he?
In the remake?
Oh, yeah, with the
He's
bow.
got the bow.
Yeah,
and he like flaps that bitch later.
Yeah. Yeah. But I thought it was so neat how there's this, because you can tell the dark force is messing with him from the very beginning.
Right.
And he is, none the wiser. And they really do a good job at making you want him to get out of this and save his wife. They really make you want to get him out of this situation that he's in, because they make you like him even though he's not really likable. He's actually kind of a crass dick.
Yeah.
Especially to his fans, because he's got writer's block.
He's really bitter.
Yeah, and he hates the idea of his fan. He hates his fandom, essentially, the Harrison Ford dilemma. But they still make you want him to get out, and they even make you like his annoying friend Barry, too.
Which is weird. His agent, right?
Yeah, his agent.
Because at first I was like, "Fuck this guy," but he digs into you.
Yeah, he just wants to help you out so bad.
Because you're waiting the whole time for him to be like the betrayer or somebody. But he never comes. He's like legitimately a loyal dude.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And I liked the setting of it. That mountainous kind of wooded area, cliffside kind of. I've always really enjoyed that kind of scenery.
By the water. And So the thing that really fucked with me and made that game way scarier than it had any right to be was within like the first maybe the first hour, when you're going into like a thick area of the woods for the first time, there is a sign for bears.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was like,
you're worried about
like
a bear
2 or something, like a bear's gonna. And so every time we went in the woods, I was like, every time I heard noise, I was like, fuck, shit, fuck, and it never happened. But yeah, it was tricky for me not to. I had to kick that off just because as I thought about it, I couldn't remember the actual like full story of what was going on, but I really liked the feel of it. Like you said, the setting.
Yeah, the setting.
What it evokes.
Yeah, and the mechanics of the gameplay itself, and like when the I think they're called the Taken. When the Taken are zipping around you and saying stuff, and you can hear like their voice, but it's distorted. That's just like, ugh, that creepy sound design,
God.
And it's also Alan Wake is also another game that one of the very few that I've played through twice.
Yep.
Like I played through on a normal difficulty, and then I bumped that sucker all the way up on to very hard and go through it.
Go ahead, and since I already kind of stole your thunder on number 1, do your next one too.
Okay. My next one is Witcher 3. Have you ever played Witcher 3? It is the video game version of of Game of Thrones. Seriously. What?
I never played it.
Whatever 160 hours of your free time you have needs to go to that video game.
I mean, I'm sure it's great.
There's no sure about it.
But
it's better than Skyrim, and Skyrim was good.
I didn't like Skyrim.
Skyrim was good.
So I had Dragon Age Inquisition on my list for a minute.
See, that's a good game, but its story is a little weak, I think.
It hit me pretty hard. Plus, I like making my own character, and I think that's part of the problem with Geralt. Geralt, sure.
But you'd like him, though.
I probably would, but I've seen enough people play it, and I've heard enough of the story that I feel like at this point that I don't want to invest that time, especially with Cyberpunk coming out. I think that's got me excited because I know how good that company is, but I think that's more in line with the world I want to be in versus the Witcher world.
Yeah.
Because The Witcher also, to me, had a lot of vibes of not like complete parallels to Dark Souls, but the same deal with like monster boss fights and things like that. I don't know. Everything I've heard about it is it's fucking phenomenal, but I just don't think I'll ever invest into it.
Right.
So what is it about that story mode then that does it for you? I
think it's like the endless possibilities and the vastness and depth of the characters that's in it. Like, and you know, he's kind of got like a ragtag of group of buddies. He's got like this actor, theologian fella, Dandelion. He likes poetry and he acts and he's a womanizer and whatnot. And then you've got Zoltan, who's like this dwarf fella who kind of gambles and, you know, shoots a No, that's Dragon Age. He doesn't shoot a crossbow. He uses an axe. But still, you know, it's just this
You've got those recognizable like archetypes.
Yeah. Like there's just kind of this cascade of all these different kind of characters, and you know, like what's really neat is if you know the backstory on Geralt and how Yennefer came to be, like they were kind of wished together, if that makes sense, by a djinn, sort of.
Okay.
Like they had to do something to like like a djinn is a really powerful being. And they had to do something in order to survive, so they binded their fates together is essentially what they did.
Okay.
And what's really neat is in the third game, there's a story mission where you can choose to unbind that wish from each other. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Like so like you have actual like choices you can make.
Yeah, the choices in this game are phenomenal. Like, you know, when some games are like, oh, if you do this, it'll totally change, and what really it does is Mass Effect 3, it changes the color of a beam. No. This is like, so for instance, you come up on this guy called the Baron, right? And either A, you can help him find his daughter, or
I did this not in game. Tom ran a one D&D campaign for me one time.
Did he
This
really?
is the storyline he took, because there's like a hag or something in the forest, right?
There's an old there's a hag in the forest, and if you go, or there's like this weird being stuck in a tree too. Like there's this weird thing stuck in a tree, and if you let that thing go, it'll tear down this village.
Yeah,
and then
I didn't do that.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't want to touch that.
Yeah, you and the Baron will come up on that torn down village, or you leave that being in the tree, and you and the Baron go somewhere else and don't even mention it.
And are there a bunch of like weird kids or something there?
Yeah, there's like a weird little kid. You call them godlings, I think.
Yeah, I like befriended them somehow or something.
Yeah,
it was it was a cool fucking thing.
Yeah,
and he was like, that's from The Witcher, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, like there's little Johnny. What's weird is that the godling children have like normal people names like Johnny or Sarah. But then the people have like Geralt, Yennefer, Triss, like weird names. But
I think I soured myself on The Witcher because I played the first one on PC and it was hot garbage.
The first one was bad. The second one was pretty bad too, but the story was all right.
Yeah, and then the third one they finally hit everything clicking properly. Yep. I think my other issue too, like with Dragon Age was originally on this list before I had to bump for something else, and behind that was the Shadow of Mordor games.
Yeah, they have a good story.
I think in terms of like that fantasy setting, I think those take priority because I've played one, and then obviously that was Lord of the Rings, so I'm already involved in that. So I never got around to that one.
Dang.
One that the next one I guess
what's your next one?
So
for 3,
this will be my second one.
This will be your second one.
Yeah, we got a little.
We're gonna miss mine anyways.
So I went with one where this is mostly based on the ending and the resolution of it.
Okay.
And this came out in what I think is the greatest year of gaming for me personally, because early in the year, Last of Us came out, or maybe it came out a little bit later, but BioShock Infinite
See, that was gonna be on my list, but the ending is what made me not put it on there. Yeah.
I know it's kind of an out of nowhere ending, and if you think about it too much, certain things
It doesn't really tie up.
right.
Yeah.
But just from the initial playthrough, the world it's in hit a lot of the right notes for me.
It's a very well designed.
Comstock, I thought, was such a good villain. Like, they do such a weird juxtaposition where he's very holy, and they've got all sorts of like
kind of like a cult,
beautiful choirs,
him,
but he's a fucking awful person. And to me, that's one of the scariest things. Like, someone who can make these people follow him, and they think it's for the right reasons, but in reality, his grand scheme is something awful.
Yeah.
But they like, you can't fault them because it's kind of this. It's the
they're
same.
They're misled.
It's the Germans and Hitler. It was kind of the same thing where it's like he seemed like such a beacon of hope, and then this happens instead. But the characters of Booker and Elizabeth, fucking phenomenal.
Once again, shout out to Troy Baker.
He crushed it that year. He always crushes it. Let's be real. But just like the reveals you get of the AB on his arm.
Yeah, wondering what that is the whole time.
The twins with the coins.
Yeah.
Or how she's ripping space and time. And then the biggest thing that like hit me so hard was when she rips time in a panic and she's in rapture.
Yeah.
And the songbird comes in and dies. I was like, oh my God. And she like pops in Paris for a little bit, but like Rapture was crazy. And then at the end, it reveals you and Comstock are the same person.
Yeah,
from different timelines.
Or something like that.
And they're like, in every timeline, there's a lighthouse and there's a father and a daughter. And I was just like, it bombards you with all this stuff like so fast. It's overwhelming. But at the end, you're just like, wow.
Right.
And then you start thinking about it, and people write papers and theories and things, and it breaks it apart a little bit.
Yeah.
But just for the sheer experience of the first time, I had to put that on my list. And then the other one, this one I chose based off. So that one is based off like the majority of it, but mostly the ending. The other one I've got on here is purely from a memorable moment, and it's Modern Warfare. The very Modern Warfare 1.
They're terrible games, but their campaigns, storytelling-wise, are never bad.
They are, but
I mean,
they've gotten
like the early ones, like Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 2.
Personally, like I've been playing Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2 on the 360.
Big Red one or regular?
The regular one and Big Red one. Big Red one, I thought had a better story.
Big Red one, yeah.
Right, and I'll always be a sucker for a World War II set campaign, but the reason that I had to go with Modern Warfare was the nuke scene.
Dude,
and
yes.
They killed you. And I was like crawling, and I was like, oh my God, I'm surviving. And then you just...
Yeah, that scene always resonated with me too, because like you feel it, you're crawling, and then he stops, and you're like, why is he stopping?
At a playground of all places too.
Yeah,
like, it's so weird. It's like the last remnants. You're like almost flashing your life before you, your childhood, and all this innocence, and it's destroyed by this nuke, and you're part of that. Like you're in it. You survived the crash just long enough to see that.
Just long enough. Have you played the remake yet of Modern Warfare? Because they redid that whole scene, and it's still just as resonates.
I have it, and I played the online, but I never went back and played the story, which I should, because All Gillied Up is still one of the best shooter
that's where you're
campaigns.
creeping through the dude.
That was a butt pucker moment going through that for the first time.
Yeah,
but Modern Warfare 2 was a close one too for the No Russians mission.
That airport. I always felt like when the general, what's his name? General Dickface Mustache.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Shoots you and then shoots your buddy. And then he gets lit on. I always thought that was a really good moment too. Like you watch yourself get lit up in flames. Like, damn.
What do you got next on yours?
My last one.
Oh, you only have one left?
Yeah, because we did.
All right, I'll do one more then.
Yeah, I think you got to do one more.
I got to do one more. So my last one is based off pure anticipation, and it's Arkham Asylum.
Okay.
So
I can see that.
Growing up, what boy growing up is not a fan of Batman or some form of superhero or whatever it might be? There are boys that aren't, and they like dolls,
like Superman or Barbie
or Barbies or whatever it may have you, or painting or eating bugs and
ballerina,
all that jazz. But me personally, I was a Batman boy. The thing Wolverine. That I mean, like, yeah, there's other people. And, like, let's not be kidding ourselves. Spider-Man was always my boy. But I had Spider-Man games that were good. I had Spider-Man 2, the movie, right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Or the PlayStation just straight up Spider-Man.
That
or
was a
even
good one, too.
On Sega Genesis, I had Maximum Carnage, which was, turns out, an M-rated game. Didn't know that at the time. But that was also fantastic. But I had never had a good Batman game. I had okay Batman games. Batman Begins was okay.
I liked that one.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But there was always something clunky or like it didn't look great. But when I saw the Arkham Asylum reveal, I immediately was hyped for it. The demo came out. I played that demo at least 50, 60 times because it's just one section of the map. Not even the map, just one room of the map, but it's a bigger room. And then the game comes out. And at this point, I know graphics are going to be good. I know the combat feels really, really good. But then they hit you with the actual story. And not just the story, but the voice actors. They got the people.
They got Mark Hamill.
And they got Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
And everything. And it's,
Batman.
And it's like, just the idea of once you realize it's the cliche, I'm not stuck in here with you, you're stuck in here with me. Like, I set a trap and you sprang it gloriously. And all that jazz.
Gloriously.
It's so good. And like the way that the different characters will interact and pop in and pop out, and you never feel like I just want it to be over. It's like, what's next? I just replayed it with the HD remasters again.
Yeah, how
like
was
not that
that?
long ago. 100% it again.
Did you really?
Yeah, every Riddler.
Even the
trophy.
Riddler. God, those
Everything.
Riddler trophies are awful.
It's not too bad in the first one. The first one is mostly like hide and seek and line things up. Once you get to City, it starts becoming like you have to do like the machinations and all that other randomness. But there's just something so simple, yet so kind of dark and twisted about it. Like it's just about as close as you can get to an M-rated game
Without being M-rated.
Right. They push that T as far as they can for the most part. And I always appreciate it. And I like how seriously they take that world. Like there are references and jokes and there are funny moments, but they treat it as if not just this is a Batman game, but this is something that we want to have, a game that we want actual resonance with first that happens to be Batman.
Yeah.
Which I think is fucking fantastic.
Okay.
So
Should we move on to...
hit me with your last
All
one
right.
because I need a drink.
Okay, so I want to do some honorable mentions.
Okay.
My first honorable mention is Far Cry 3.
Is that Voss?
Yeah, Voss.
Okay.
Now, for the whole reason I didn't is because the whole reason I would give it to Far Cry 3 as an honorable mention is just for Voss alone.
Yep. And the ending sucked.
Yeah, the ending was fucking gobbledygook, dude. And not to mention they used Voss as the poster boy, and then he dies 80% through.
Right.
And then you're dealing with Hoyt. And also Jason as a character, have you played that game recently?
No.
Everything he says is just cringier than shit. He's just a terrible character. Like, he's unlikable, you know? So Voss, you can't really give a game a story of the award when the villain who's only in it really 50 minutes
And gets replaced by someone not as good.
nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's kind of a Far Cry issue, though, is they always start off good and then they kind of peter out.
Yeah.
What? Do you have another honorable?
I do. Jack 3 from the PS2 era. Never played that one? That's another Naughty Dog game. See, Jack 3 was really good because it took... So we had the first game, which was like a children's platformer, to a sci-fi Grand Theft Auto. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, weird turn, but an amazing turn. And the reason why I would give Jack 3 is because just for this simple foreshadowing, right? So Jack 3 is about this guy with elf character who runs around with big ears and shoots guns and drives cars, right? But he's got this little orange ocelot. Daxter, yeah. And they're looking for these things called the precursors, right? Well, it turns out it's revealed that the precursors were ocelots. And in the first game, there's this guy. He's like the answers rest on the shoulders of a very young boy.
The ocelot's always on his shoulder.
The entire time.
God,
yeah,
Naughty Dog.
Yeah, dude. They foreshadowed that into the first game and then made it work all the way in the third game. And by the second game, they did a complete 180 of what the game had become, you know. And then the third one was better because they introduced a whole nother city, like a marauder type city out in the desert. So now you're driving dune buggies and stuff instead of just little hover cars. Yeah.
Damn. So what's your actual pick then?
So my second pick is mainly for how well the story is told in character development and character design. I know you were like, nah, I'm not playing this anymore, but Red Dead Redemption 2
was
so well done in its writing and storytelling.
100%.
Like right off the get-go.
Yep.
You hate Micah.
I do, yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck that guy.
you fucking hate Micah. And right off the get-go, you kind of trust Dutch. You kind of think Dutch is the man.
No, I don't trust Dutch.
No. But not after too long, you start, I don't know about...
Took till about Valentine. I was like, all right, fuck this guy.
Yeah. But you start to think, you can see it, and the way that Arthur develops... The way that Arthur develops throughout the story, depending on what kind of person you are, he sticks his hooks in you, and he does not let go. Because at first Arthur's kind of plain Jane, just a normal, we gotta get the money, Dutch. to he has tuberculosis, and he's telling a nun that he's terrified. Yeah. He got a case of the consumption.
So I will 100% concede that the story mode and the acting and everything about that is fantastic. It was the gameplay that bothered me to the point where I wasn't going to play anymore because I felt a lack of, I don't know, like the controls were a little clunky.
It gets a little wonky and clunky.
And it felt like I was in the same loop of get to a new town, things go wrong, get to a new town, things go wrong. And the problem was I wanted the story to progress. Like I wanted more of that, but I felt like there was so much in between the cutscenes that I had to do like menial tasks that I wanted to get the big things done.
Yeah.
And then there's a really good video by a guy on YouTube that I can't remember his name. He calls himself Jakey or something like that, who was able to like formulate how I felt into that video with a metaphor of like Legos and how you can build the Lego set the way that it is by the manual, or you can get a bucket of Legos and build whatever you want. And he spells out how Rockstar wants you to do like the very specific build when you're in the missions, and then you've got the box of Legos when you're out in free roam. And the issue was I was feeling that same way where when I was in the mission there was things I was wanting to do, but the game was like, oh no, you failed, you got too far away, or oh nope, you got to park it just there.
Yeah,
things like that.
I kind of felt like that too. Like there's a part in the later end of the game where you follow Dutch and Micah to this guy who's he's the one who's hired the Pinkertons that are sent after you, right? Well, you start a shootout in the middle of this coal mining town, and I don't know if it was scripted or not, but a train, like there's like a railway like a coal mining railway that goes up over these train tracks. But as we were running up to this thing, because that's where Dutch and Micah were gonna go, and in my mind in the story at this point, I'm like, with Arthur, I'm like, fuck this, we gotta get out of here. So I hopped on the train that was heading out of town, and it failed me
because you got too far. You didn't do what the game wanted you to do.
Yeah, you didn't do what that game wanted you to do. Yep. And I thought it would have been really freaking cool if they like if you hop on that train, you go back to the camp, and then there's different story things that happens when you get back to the camp, because that train was heading out of town. And I remember thinking, fuck this, you guys are on your own. Like, I'm not going to be a part of this crazy shit, but you have to stick with them and shoot up the town. And that is why it didn't get my number one spot.
I may go back and actually finish it just for the story mode, but I'm also like contemplating just watching.
Even the side story missions are very good.
I might the serial killer one let me down a little bit.
Yeah,
I thought it was gonna be a little creepier.
Watch Dogs, serial killer mission storyline let me down too.
I got back into that game last month or the month before that with online, because that was kind of more what I was wanting, because then it is just sandbox, do whatever you want as long as you complete the mission. There are certain things where it's like you do have to stay in this area or that, but it's not near as concise as to what it is you have to do. But just from a technical standpoint, what they're able to achieve in that game with the horse's testicles shrinking.
Yeah, when it's cold. Like there are some things I'll admit about the game. Like I felt like there are things we could have done with and done without. For instance, the testicle horse is shrinking. We could have done without that. It's a neat detail.
It's exactly, and it's the little details that I think make the world. That one may not be necessary, but it's part of that helps draw you in. I just wish when I was in there I had more choice. Because
I was like you. Because the first part of the game, like there's something about that first 30% of the story campaign that's just like. It's good, but it's hard to get through because I got to a point with Red Dead where I hated it and thought it was super overrated to, I guess I'll stick it out to, okay, I love this game because the story is so good.
And I'm sure Tom will appreciate your choice because I think he's played it through twice now.
Damn.
Yeah.
I got 90% completion.
Oh, fuck.
That had to have been at least 100 hours.
You know what's really bothering me right now is having that talk and talking about 90%. Is I've got Arkham on here, but it probably should have replaced that with Spider-Man for PS4.
See,
that story mode was so good. That's for a different video. Though.
Yeah, we'll have to go into that for a different time.
My last pick is I gotta give that
last pick yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, we got a
little sidetracked. Yeah. Hey.
So I had to go way back to the childhoods.
Oh,
right.
Okay. Way back to the childhoods, like probably before I was double-digit years old, or maybe just at. Like I've been playing since Sega Genesis, since like Sonic 2, and there's a bunch of games I love. There was the Sonic games, there was that Spider-Man game I had on PlayStation. Like it was mostly sports games, but there were other things here and there. But the first game with a story mode that I remember, like, falling in love with and playing multiple times and like enjoying every facet about it. Halo 1. The very first Halo. Okay.
Like that made me get an Xbox. I went over to I think my buddy Drew Lyons' house or something, and his older brother had Halo, and we played it like just multiplayer with each other. And I was like, this is it. This is what I have to get. And so I spent I don't know how fucking long just doing whatever I could to try and get an Xbox and get Halo. And then I actually got to play the fucking campaign for it. And right off the bat, the Pillar of Autumn is like phenomenal. It's still my favorite mission from any Halo game. Just the setting of being on the ship. You're under attack from the aliens. You were introduced to Master Chief.
How they introduce everything. Yeah, the
Cortana
introduction was done very well.
Keys and how everyone's like in relation to each other, and you get to see how that plays out through that game. And you get some actual moments of like, oh fuck, no, Keys, don't die. Like you're the one telling me what to do. What am I supposed to do? And then Cortana is like in your head, like making sure you keep on path and keeping things going, and it keeps progressing, and you start finding out like these weird things about the Halo ring, and then turns out the Halo itself wasn't the weapon. It was the Flood was the weapon, and it got unleashed on Halo, and that's one of the fucking earliest.
Scariest.
Yeah,
like,
the dude's got the dude, the face hugger looking thing on his head, and they come breaking in, and you've got to fight him off in that room, and it just keeps building and building and building, and then climaxes you're back on the pillar now that it's crashed. Or no, they call it the Maw, is the last level.
Okay.
And you're fighting your way through the Flood and the Covenant, and you've had your run-in with 343 at this point, and it all ends with that epic fucking Warhog chase off the exploding ship. And like just front to back as a kid, I was like, I've never experienced anything like this. I don't know what to do with myself. Like, I think I have to play it again. And then at that point, it's like, you can play this co-op? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's one thing I always thought Halo did right was co-op. Just letting you be able to play. And I always thought Halo 2 was cool in the aspect of it's you and an elite alien running about.
Yep.
I always thought that was cool.
The
Arbiter.
See, I didn't enjoy the following stories as much. I did like them, but whenever I think about it, like in terms of my favorite multiplayer, it was always 3. My favorite custom games was always 2. My favorite story mode was always 1. But the other thing I'm thinking here is looking at my list, with the exception of 1, I've played all these story modes within the last year or so. The only one I haven't played was Modern Warfare. That's how good these games are, that like with the amount of games coming out, I will still go back and play those games.
Those old ones, yeah.
Right. Even though some of these I've played, Halo I've played front to back at least 20 times, at least.
Jeez. But
beating on legendary and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm not like a hardcore gamer like that.
Yeah,
I'm more of
that's
a
not your
normal
thing.
difficulty kind of
Yeah.
guy.
I like to throw it on hard if I can do it.
I used to.
But if it gets too hard,
Yeah.
bye. Like God of War, the 2018 one, which was also very good, an amazing story of son and father, but it didn't make the list because I felt like the story itself didn't feel very thick.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot going. Like there was a lot of lore, but the whole thing with him and Boulder, like Boulder's just like kind of there, and you never really know why Boulder's ever there. He's just there to fight, it seems like.
And that's another one I didn't finish, but it still crossed my mind for this just because of what I played. Like, just the characters were really good and the setting was really good. But then I was like, that's not really the way I was basing them. Was like the actual storyline itself and how that affected me.
Yeah, that's why it didn't make the list, because I was like, there were parts during God of War where there was a part where he's disciplining his son, and the things he's saying to him made me tear up a little bit, because it's just like, wow, that was really deep and really, it's not like, an abusive father. It's that you would expect Kratos to freaking be if you've played all the other ones. Watching Kratos go from this monstrous fucking plague to this very vulnerable and not just
and he's hard on him because he doesn't want him to die.
Yeah,
basically.
He doesn't want him to die, and he doesn't want him to be like him. So it creates this dilemma, like, how do I make the perfect being? Coming from someone who's certainly not a perfect being.
Which is so fucking tragic.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. So, that was our top 5 video game stories.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it and are still with us. I've been Kirk.
I've been Sawyer.
Because we may not have introduced ourselves again. Who
I
fucking
don't think
knows?
we did. I can't remember. It's all blurring together.
Yeah. We'll see you again next time when we kind of elaborate on whatever next category we decide to choose. So stay tuned. Thanks.
Please come back.
Please.
Please.